Dear students, today we will discuss about the third chapter of the class 12, that is the human reproduction. And in human reproduction, firstly we will discuss about the male reproductive system. As we know that in the reproductive system, or particularly in male, that is the two types of sex organs, means that is the primary character of the sex organ and the secondary character of the sex organ. The primary sexual character, that is the presence of testis, the presence of a pair of testes, and the secondary sexual characters is that with the influence of androgens, particularly testosterone, that is the development of beard, moustache, and change of the pitch of voice, development of muscles, and development of pubic hairs as well as axillary hairs, and starts the formation of spermatozoa within the body. So, firstly, we will discuss about the anatomical structure of male reproductive system. And first point is that a pair of testes is present within the scrotum. So, scrotum is the outgrowth of the lower abdomen, and within the scrotum a pair of testes is present, and its main function is to reduce the body temperature, because our body temperature is just 37 degrees Celsius, as we know that, and this scrotum, which is hanging outside the lower abdomen in case of human male, it reduces its temperature by 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius, or maybe up to 3 degrees Celsius. So this temperature will reduce up to 34.5 or 34 degrees Celsius. This temperature means 34.5 degrees Celsius, and around this temperature is very suitable for the growth and development, potentiality and motility of the spermatozoa. Now, within the scrotum, that is a pair of testes is located, and I want to just tell one point about the inguinal canal. When we are developing as a fetal embryo, and as soon as we retain the age of retain the developmental period of the 7 months within the womb of mother, the developing testis is present within the abdomen, and as soon as the baby matures and ready to come on the earth, means at the time of parturition, the both testes push down into the scrotum with the help of inguinal canal. Okay, now this is the longitudinal section of the testis, and in this longitudinal section, that is the outermost layer is the tunica vaginalis. After that, the below structure, this is the outermost, and below that, that is the tunica albuginea. So actual this is the covering of testis, and below that, that is the tunica vasculosa. This tunica albuginea is fibrous in behavior, whereas tunica vasculosa is the network of blood capillaries with connective tissues. So tunica vasculosa is the network of blood capillaries with the loose connective tissues, and this tunica vasculosa is present between the testicular lobules. So this is the testicular lobules. The number of testicular lobules are 250, and it may enhance. 250 chambers of the testicular lobules are present. Within the testicular lobule, 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules are present, and all three tubules are coiled, and in between the space of the seminiferous tubule, so that is, look at here, this is the seminiferous tubule, this structure, and within and this space present between the loop of the seminiferous tubule is this reddish spot is the Leydig cells, which is also called as interstitial cells. This Leydig cells is endocrine in behavior, endocrine cells, and which secretes androgens. And androgen is the group of steroid hormones, and out of 3 to 4 androgens, the most popular and most significant androgen is testosterone, and this testosterone helps in the development of secondary sexual characters, as well as it stimulates the behavior of seminiferous tubule. And this seminiferous tubule, actually this seminiferous tubule, suppose this is the picture of seminiferous tubule, so its wall is simple epithelial squamous tissue. Simple epithelial squamous tissue. This tissue behavior changed as epithelial germinal tissue. So epithelial squamous tissue is converted into epithelial germinal tissue, and then epithelial germinal tissue is converted into or transformed into spermatogonial cells, which we'll discuss later when we cut the section of seminiferous tubule. Now, with the influence of androgen cells within this seminiferous tubule, the spermatozoa is formed, and then the spermatozoa will come out through the seminiferous tubule, as well as the seminiferous tubule will come out from the testicular lobule. So look at, this is the testicular lobule, and this seminiferous tubule is coming out, and as soon as it comes from the testicular lobules, this structure is called as rete testis. Now, rete testis is now elongates or proceeds as vas efferentia. Vas efferentia. The internal anatomical structure of vas efferentia is ciliated epithelial tissue. So naturally it helps in the movement of spermatozoa, because cilia performs the movement, a specified movement. Now, vas efferentia will converted into and elongates as epididymis. So this is the coiled structure. And the length of epididymis is approximately 6 meter. So 6 meter structure is coiled in this epididymis. The entire structure of epididymis is divided into 3 parts. The upper part is the caput epididymis, the middle body corpus epididymis, and the lower is the cauda epididymis. So epididymis is divided into three parts. The first one is the caput, the middle part is the corpus, and the bottom part is the cauda. This cauda is now converting or elongating as a sperm duct. This is vas deferens, which is also called as a sperm duct. This sperm duct is lay over, just make the cover, or lay over means just overriding or overlapping on the urinary bladder, and then it comes down. As soon as it comes down, the opening of seminal vesicle is received. So this is the seminal vesicle tubule. This is the seminal vesicle tubule, which meets to the vas deferens, and there is the common or a short tubular structure which is called as ejaculatory duct. The number of ejaculatory duct is paired because we are just suppose considering that is the one vas deferens. Vas deferens is also paired. Epididymis is also paired because from each testis this complete structure is emerging and forming the epididymis, and when it will make the loop, so another vas deferens will also make loop and unite here at the junction of urinary bladder or near the prostate gland, because just below of the seminal vesicle prostate gland is present, and after that is the corpus gland, which is also called as bulbourethral gland. Dear students, one point, the number of prostate gland is 1. Clear? The number of prostate gland is 1, and this gland is only present in the male body and absent in the female body. Clear? The number of corpus gland is paired. The number of seminal vesicle glands is also paired. Means this is the paired, and this is only one. So naturally the vas deferens junction is here. Now as soon as the urinary bladder meets here, and then it elongates as urethra. So urethra is also divided into three parts. Urethra is also divided into three parts. The first urethra is the prosthetic urethra. Prosthetic urethra. The second one is the membranous urethra. The second is the membranous urethra. And third is the penile. Here is written penile urethra. The first one is the prosthetic, second is the membranous, and third is the penile urethra. So finally urethra is divided into three. The penile urethra runs within the penis. We will cut the section of penis and we will see the two types of tissues are present. This urethra elongates and come to opening, which is called as urethra orifice. Urethra orifice. And at the tip of the urethra there is the muscular structure and highly vascularized structure which is called as glans. This is the highly vascularized and exciting part of the male reproductive system, and which is covered by a pair of folded skin which is called as prepuce or foreskin. Prepuce or foreskin. Dear students, now we will discuss about these three accessory glands. So here, that is the primary structure is the testis, and the presence of rete testis, vas deferens, epididymis, and vas deferens. These are the ducted, or these are the accessories, ducts of the male reproductive genitalia. And now we will see the secretion of these three glands. Dear students, accessory glands is of three types. That is the seminal vesicle, which is the pair, and its secretion is mainly fructose, some protein, and alkaline in behavior. So its pH is approximately 7.4 and may vary 7.5. The prostate gland is slightly acidic due to presence of citric acid. So its pH is approximately 6.5 and around this. This is also alkaline. The secretions of bulbourethral is also alkaline. So its pH is also 7.2 to 7.3, and the number of prostate is 1. This is paired and this is also paired, which I have already told. And this citric acid helps in the nourishment of the spermatozoa. That is the nutrient of spermatozoa or sperms. And this is the milky fluid, maybe whitish. And alkaline, that is, this means a bulbourethral secretion having some mucoprotein and one hormone, that is the prostaglandin. Prostaglandin is also here present, and this prostaglandin helps and play a very important role in the motility of the sperm. Motility of the sperm, and this hormone helps in the forward moving of the spermatozoa towards the oviduct. The volume, or the secretions of the three glands is the secretions of the three gland is called as semen, and its volume is approximately 4 ml to 5 ml, and as we know that its pH is approximately 7.2 to 7.3, it may varies, and this semen has the secretions of the three and spermatozoa. And the number of spermatozoa is approximately 200 to 300 millions. 200 to 300 millions in per ejaculation. So this is the per ejaculation volume. And one thing, in this volume, its secretion is approximately 60 to 70%. Its secretion is approximately 20 to 25%, and its secretion is approximately 5%. So this is the secretion of the accessory gland. Now, The another point is that we will cut the section of the TS of the penis and we will see the tissue organization. So this is the section of the penis. So this is the outer skin covering, that is the skin, and here that is the blood capillary or blood artery, and in this position that is the corpus cavernosa, and here in this position that is the corpus spongiosum, and within this is the urethra, means penile urethra, and these two are the corpus cavernosa. So actually two erectile muscles are present within the penis, and this corpus cavernosa is dorsally placed, and corpus spongiosum is ventrally, and within the corpus spongiosum urethra runs and come to near the urethral orifice. One point is that in the erection of the penis, within these erectile muscles, approximately 250 ml blood is locked, which is the oxygenated blood is locked, and then erection of the penis takes place, and then the copulation can be established. Now we will discuss about the hormonal secretions of the Leydig cells. But before that, just I want to say one point. In NCERT, that is the one point is written, immunological competent cells. Immunological, that is the one point is written, that is the immunological competent cells. The meaning of this immunological competent cell is that there is the some few specialized cells are present along with the Leydig cells, and these are the pro and anti inflammatory cytokines cells, few specialized T lymphocytes, some macrophages and mast cells are present. These cells helps to kill the antigens. Suppose any one antigen reach to or reach up to testis region, then these cells provide the immunological control. Now we will discuss about the hormonal secretions. Dear students, regarding the hormonal secretions, that is the first hormonal secretion is the GnRH, that is the gonadotropin releasing hormone. This hormone is secreted from hypothalamus. This hormone GnRH is secreted from the hypothalamus, and it directly acts at anterior part of pituitary. directly acts at anterior part of the pituitary. Now, the anterior part of the pituitary is stimulated and secretes two hormones, that is the LH, that is the luteinizing hormone, and that is the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Now, this LH will act on the Leydig cell, and this Leydig cells secretes androgen and mainly testosterone, and this testosterone will put impact on the development of secondary sexual characters, as well as it promotes the secretion of accessory glands means seminal vesicle glands, prostate gland, and bulbourethral gland. Now, the FSH will act on Sertoli cell. These cells are elongated and present within the seminiferous tubule, and it helps in the nutrition to a spermatogonia cell and developing spermatozoa cells. Nutrition to developing spermatogonial cells, and this Sertoli cells also secretes one hormone, that is the inhibin. This inhibin suppresses the effect of hypothalamus to stop the secretion of GnRH and further action, because FSH is the most important hormone which helps in the two process, that is the spermatogenesis and spermiogenesis. We will discuss these 2 points when we discuss about the TS of seminiferous tubule and development of spermatozoa. That's all.